Good morning, all of you. Welcome to Jayendra Rank Zone. So, in the previous lecture, we have discussed already metallurgy chapter, the methods of refining, and we have done some questions based on that also. Now, in this lecture, we are going to discuss some more important points, additional points in this lesson now. So, additional points in metallurgy right now we are going to discuss. So, please listen carefully. It's very, very important. Yes, right. Yes. So, additional point we are going to discuss. Yes. Let us start now. So the additional points based on Ellingham diagram. As I told you in the previous lecture only, Ellingham diagram, definitely you'll get one question based on this. And from Ellingham diagram, what we are going to discuss? So from Ellingham diagram, we are going to get, we can select the best reducing agent for the reduction of metal oxide to metal, for the reduction of metal oxide to metal. So they are plots of delta G versus T. What are the Ellingham diagrams points? First point, they are plots of standard free energy change versus temperature for the oxides of elements. Delta GF, that is standard free energy, is calculated for 1 mole of oxygen. So for 2 moles of carbon plus 1 mole of oxygen to give 2 moles of carbon monoxide, the plot is a straight line with negative slope. And for carbon to carbon dioxide, the plot is straight line almost parallel to x-axis. So for the remaining oxide, the plots are straight lines with slopes. So this is the information regarding Ellingham diagram. So let us see the graphs now. You can see here delta G, that is standard free energy change versus T. So for the carbon to carbon dioxide, change of carbon to carbon dioxide, exactly the plot is a straight line with almost parallel to x-axis. It is almost parallel to x-axis. And this carbon monoxide to carbon dioxide, that is 2 moles of carbon combines with oxygen to form 2 moles of carbon monoxide. So it is a straight line with a negative slope, and this is the negative slope and this is the positive slope, and the remaining oxides are plots are straight lines with slopes. So these are the oxides we have. So this is the additional point regarding Ellingham diagram we have got. And from this Ellingham diagram, what we can discuss? We can select the reducing agent. We can select the reducing agent for the reduction of metal at certain temperature. For the reduction of metal at certain temperature. So this is called Ellingham diagram. So this application is very, very important at certain temperature. So at what temperature carbon can be used as reducing agent? At what temperature carbon monoxide can be used as reducing agent for the reduction of zinc oxide to zinc, calcium oxide to calcium, copper oxide to copper. So that is the main motto of the main objective of Ellingham diagram is this. This we have already discussed in the lecture when you are discussing about this. So again, I'm giving you the information to understand it. Next continuation. So when an oxide is forming from a metal, like magnesium changes to magnesium oxide, if the metal changes its state from solid to gas, then there will be increase in slope. So on heating, magnesium becomes gas at 1100 kelvins, that is magnesium oxide, changes to magnesium oxide. So you can write this. So 2 mg plus O2 gives us to 2 mgO. So on heating at 1100 degrees C, so 1100 Kelvin, sorry, so magnesium oxide gas will be formed. So if a gas is formed, then what happens? There will be increase in slope. Solid state, there will be increase in slope, and this line indicates this temperature. At what temperature it is? 1100 kelvins. So the additional point, when an oxide is forming from a metal, if the metal changes its state from solid to gas, then there will be increase in slope. Next continuation. If the gap between the two lines is more, the extent of reduction is less. If the gap between the two lines is more, the extent of reduction is less. So oxide is more below T1. Below T1, that is the extent of its magnesium combines with aluminum oxide to form magnesium oxide plus aluminum. So magnesium is displacing aluminum from its salt solution. Less, while that of 2 aluminum changes to chromium oxide and forms aluminum and chromium. So aluminum is displacing chromium. So magnesium can displace aluminum and aluminum can displace chromium. So by this, what you can understand, this is the principle involved in Goldsmith aluminum thermal process. So in the graph, the downer part, that is the lines which is having less slope. You can say here the gap, the line between is more, the extent of reduction is less. So if the gap between the lines is more, extent of reduction is less. So oxide is more below T1, extent of its oxide is more. Below T1, extent of its oxide is more. So here by this what you can understand, magnesium can displace aluminum. Magnesium can displace aluminum from aluminum oxide at this temperature. At what temperature where it is exactly meeting it. So aluminum can displace chromium, and chromium cannot displace aluminum and magnesium. So lower ones, the lower metals can displace the higher metals in the graph. Lower metals can displace the higher metals in the graph. So please understand this, very, very important. Next, flow sheet, that is flow chart for the extraction of next concept we have. These are the additional points apart from the points which we have discussed. That is flow chart for the extraction of iron. So first the powdered iron ore is taken. It is concentrated by gravity separation process or hydraulic machine, followed by electromagnetic separation, because iron is magnetic in nature. Since iron is magnetic in nature, so it can be separated by the means of electromagnetic separation, concentrated. Since iron is magnetic in nature, we can concentrate iron by is magnetic in nature. We can concentrate it by electromagnetic separation. And after that, what we'll do calcination and roasting for iron. O plus A is uses to moisture, carbon and sulfur dioxide. In this, what are the impurities are removed? Arsenic oxides are removed. Iron oxide is iron, that is ferrous oxide is oxidized to ferric oxide, that is Fe2O3. Fe2O3. So in this way, this is the flow chart of iron. So just for your understanding, easily if you write this in your notes, it will be easy. So then next process, smelting in blast furnace, that is ore plus coke plus limestone is taken in the blast furnace. The following reactions occur. So it forms iron and carbon dioxide, and calcium carbonate forms calcium oxide and carbon dioxide, and calcium oxide plus silicon dioxide forms calcium silicate, that is called slag. So 2 moles of carbon monoxide on hot iron forms carbon dioxide, carbon. So this silicon dioxide plus carbon forms silicon plus carbon monoxide. The impurities. What are the impurities present with iron? Manganese dioxide, phosphorus pentoxide. So manganese dioxide is removed by the means of reaction with carbon, and phosphorus also removed by the means of carbon. So silicon dioxide, manganese dioxide, and phosphorus pentoxide are the impurities which can be removed by the means of carbon, and they form carbon monoxide. Spongy iron plus carbon plus manganese plus silicon, etc. impure iron. So carbon plus oxygen gives rise to carbon dioxide, and carbon dioxide plus carbon gives rise to carbon monoxide. So whatever the iron you are getting from this process is called pig iron. It is remelted and cooled and becomes cast iron. So impurities with iron is in cast iron percentage is 93%, carbon is 5%. And what are the impurities along with it? Because silicon is formed, manganese is formed, phosphorus is formed. So the impurities percentage is 2%. So this cast iron is then changed into wrought iron. So next, very, very important concept. This is the additional topic. So wrought, it is not white iron, it is also called as wrought iron, cementite. So when steel is heated to a high temperature, cementite is formed. What is cementite? Very important. It is for advanced level. This concept is for advanced level, not for JE means or JE NEET and NEET also. This is for advanced level. So advanced level, anything they can ask. So that's why we are extending the topic. So when steel is heated to a high temperature, cementite is formed. What is cementite? It is nothing but iron carbide. This is called ferric carbide. Ferric carbide, which is also called as cementite. Steel plus cementite on slow cooling loses carbon in the form of graphite. So iron obtained is called gray iron. It is called what? Gray iron. So steel plus cementite on slow cooling lose graphite. This rapid cooling is called tampering. Iron obtained is called wrought iron, that is white iron and gray iron. So steel and cementite on slow cooling loses carbon in the form of graphite. This rapid cooling, here not slow cooling, it is rapid cooling. On rapid cooling also is called tempering. So tempering iron obtained is called white iron. It is I use these irons are used in construction purposes. This gray iron and white iron sorry is used in construction purposes of buildings in the form of steel construction purposes. This modified steel which is used for pillars. which is used for constructing pillars. So please note it down. So this is called cemented. What is cemented? Cemented is nothing but ferric carbide. Next continuation, manufacture of steel. You already know steel is very, very important. It's an alloy. So it's an alloy of consisting of iron, manganese, and carbon. So from the blast furnace, we already got iron. We have 93% iron and 2% manganese and carbon and phosphorus also. So with this, we can obtain easily steel also. So let us see what is how to manufacture steel. Impurities of pig iron are completely oxidized in the presence of hot air blast. So first, whatever the pig iron is formed from the blast furnace are completely oxidized in the presence of hot air blast, forms wrought iron. So this wrought iron is mixed with spiegelcene. Spiegelcene is an alloy of iron, manganese, and carbon to obtain steel. So this wrought iron is mixed with spiegelcene. So on the whole, what is steel composition? Steel consisting of iron, manganese, and carbon. Iron, manganese, and carbon. So this process is carried out in decimal converter. Iron contains phosphorus as an impurity. It is getting oxidized to phosphorus pentoxide, which combines to form calcium phosphate, known as Thomas slag. Known as what? Thomas slag. Known as Thomas slag. This already we know it is calcium phosphate. So let us discuss now. Next, flow chart for the extraction of copper now. So copper pyrites, copper pyrites, the concentration of fourth flotation. So first we are doing concentration, that is concentration by fourth flotation method. So this powdered ore plus water plus pine oil plus air gives rise to sulfide ore in the path. So this is called copper pyrites, concentration by fourth flotation. So roasting in evaporative furnace in the presence of air. So first we will do concentration of copper pyrites by means of fourth flotation. So fourth flotation process is nothing but what? Powdered ore plus water plus fine oil plus air gives it sulfide ore in the path. And next we'll do roasting in evaporative furnace in the presence of air. So sulfur plus oxygen gives it to sulfur dioxide. So arsenic plus oxygen gives it to arsenic oxide. And copper pyrites, that is CuFeS2 on oxidation gives Cu2S and this. So this silica plus coke in the roasted ore. So smelting will do next. What will do? Smelting. Smelting in blast furnace in the presence of air. So it is combined with iron sulfide along with oxygen. So it forms ferrous silicate. Ferrous silicate is nothing but slag. And silica is nothing but, and then it forms on treating with forms, it forms matte. Matte is nothing but combination of cuprous sulfate plus iron sulfate. This flowchart already we have given. So next, this matte is taken in the Bessemer converter in the presence of air and forms copper. Copper is formed by the means of auto reduction. So this is very, very important. So many questions we have discussed already. So copper is formed by the means of auto reduction. So blister copper, 98% pure copper is obtained from this and 2% impurities. And blister copper can be made pure copper by the means of electrolytic refining, in which anode is made up of impure copper plates and the cathode is made up of pure copper plates, and electrolyte is copper sulfate solution plus sulfuric acid solution. So pure copper is deposited at cathode. Pure copper is deposited at cathode. So this is called flow chart of copper, the extraction of copper, steps involved in the extraction of copper. So if you write these flow charts easily, you can understand clearly and you can answer any type of questions. And we have discussed already so many questions from these flow charts also based on this concept, that is not a flow chart, based on this concept, that is extraction of copper. So let us see now. Next we have flow chart for the extraction of zinc. First, zinc blend is concentrated by means of any sulfide ore is best concentrated by the means of fourth flotation process. This what is fourth flotation process we have explained you already. Then after getting, we'll get concentrated zinc sulfide, that is zinc blend. Then this concentrated zinc blend will be doing roasting in the form. So what is roasting? Heating the ore strongly in the presence of air. It is called roasting. So when zinc sulfide is roasted, it forms zinc oxide along with sulfur dioxide. The zinc sulfide, even zinc sulfide also will form. And finally, the zinc sulfide is also converted into zinc oxide. So on the whole, what is formed? Metal oxide is formed, that is zinc oxide is formed. And if calamine is taken, zinc carbonate is taking it on heating, it forms zinc oxide. So by the means of roasting, we'll be getting zinc oxide. We'll be getting what? Zinc oxide. Next we have, so two steps we have. Next we have Belgian process, that is reduction. So reduction can be done by the means of reducing agent called zinc. So where that is carbon. So zinc oxide combines with carbon and forms zinc spelter plus carbon monoxide impure. So in this way we will get reduction of zinc. So this is called extraction of zinc. I hope it is clear. It's very, very important. This is extraction of zinc. So we have done the flow charts based on additional points regarding Yellingam diagram, etc. So let us now write some questions based on this. Then we'll go for a new topic. Anyway, we have discussed questions already. So let us go for a new topic now. So next concept in this chapter, because explanation part we have already done. Now we are going to do extraction of silver. Extraction of silver, this is new to us. So let us see now. Till now we have only a recap. Now we'll have extraction of silver. This we have not done so far. So let us see now extraction of silver. So silver or argentite ore, it is concentrated by Froth flotation process. First, it will be concentrated by what process? It is concentrated by Froth flotation process. So powdered ore along with water plus pine oil plus air, it is forming froth carrying sulfate particles. Next, we have very, very important, that is called leaching process. Here, what is done? Leaching process. First, from silver sulfate, we'll do this process. Cyanidation is also called as leaching. Also called as what? Leaching process. So concentrated ore plus sodium cyanide solution 0.4 to 0.6% plus air. So this silver sulfate plus sodium cyanide forms silver argentocyanide, that is sodium argentocyanide plus sodium sulfate. This sodium argentocyanide, sodium sulfate plus water plus oxygen gives rise to sodium sulfate plus sodium hydroxide plus sulfur. So this sodium argentocyanide, it is nothing but what? It is a complex compound. It is nothing but leaching process. It is called what? Leaching process. So let us continue with this now. These are the steps involved in the extraction of silver. So this filtrate is containing precipitation of silver with zinc. So what happens? This sodium silver cyanide on treating with zinc, it forms 2 moles of silver plus here. This plus is nothing but here we have tried silver is being formed here. So this is plus in the middle. This is called sodium zinc cyanide, black precipitate. Sodium zinc cyanide. This black precipitate of silver on reaction with potassium nitrate on fusing, it forms compact mass, that is silver metal. So after forming silver metal, to make it more refining, so refining of silver can be done by using electrolytic refining, in which anode is taken as impure silver, cathode is taken as pure silver plate, and electrolyte is nothing but same silver solution, that is silver nitrate solution plus nitric acid, and pure silver deposited on the cathode. So these are the steps involved in the extraction of silver. Steps involved in the extraction of silver. First, Froth flotation process. Second, we have leaching, and third, we have precipitation of silver with zinc. And this is coming under leaching only. And fourth, we have electrolytic refining. I hope it is clear if I'm doing fast, because anyway it is very easy. Everything is being showing to you. So please note it down. It's very, very easy, and try to solve questions based on this. Anyway, we are going to discuss questions in this lecture now. Next, we have extraction of gold by amalgamated process. Extraction of gold. This we have not discussed. So let us now start with extraction of gold. These are all additional materials which is important for advanced level and mains level. So from alluvial sand. So gold, anyway, you know, gold and silver are the metals. Gold is a metal which is obtained in free state, which is available in free state. In free state. Gold is a metal which is available in free state, that is impure gold, because it is connecting with earthly impurities. So impure gold on reaction sodium cyanide, this process is called as again leaching. So the concentration of gold is can be done, extraction of gold can be done by leaching. What is leaching? A suitable agent will be, a suitable reagent is added so that the metal itself is soluble in it. So silver cyanide can dissolves gold and forms sodium silver cyanide, sodium gold cyanide. So sodium cyanide dissolves gold, so and forms sodium gold cyanide. Sodium gold cyanide. This is bracket. So AuCN taken to S plus 4NaOH, just like silver. And this sodium gold cyanide combines with zinc. Zinc will replace gold, and gold is pure gold is deposited, and zinc will form complex compound, that is sodium zinc cyanide. Sodium zinc cyanide. So just like this is nothing but this process called what? Leaching. So first step in the extraction of gold, we have leaching process. Next, continuation. So next we have flow chart for the extraction of aluminium. Aluminium ore combines, this is already we know aluminium is being extracted by the means of bauxite. This flow charts I have given in the previous lecture, but still if you want more, as we require more things, so that's why we are giving more again and again. So first we have concentration of aluminium. It can be done by Bayer's process, Surpex process, and Hall's process. So Bayer's process, bauxite ore has to convert iron oxide into iron ferric oxide. So roasted ore, sodium hydroxide solution, sodium metaluminate, and finally it forms aluminum hydroxide. This aluminum hydroxide on heating strongly will form aluminum oxide again. Aluminum hydroxide on heating forms aluminum oxide. So that is called Bayer's process. So when we'll apply for Bayer's process, you can see here now. So Bayer's process, if aluminum oxide contains iron oxide as impurity. So when you use this process, if aluminum oxide, if bauxite contains, this is also called as red bauxite, if bauxite contains iron oxide as impurity, iron oxide as impurity. So that iron oxide is being converted into ferric oxide, and finally aluminum hydroxide plus sodium hydroxide is formed. This aluminum hydroxide on heating strongly will form aluminum oxide again. It is to aluminum oxide along with water. So this is nothing but concentrated aluminum oxide is formed. So this is called Bayer's process. So if bauxite contains iron oxide as impurity, we will concentrate the aluminum by Bayer's process. Next continuation. Suppose if bauxite contains silicon dioxide as impurity and as well as silicon dioxide as well as iron oxide as impurity, we'll use Hall's process. So when you will use Hall's process, if bauxite contains silicon dioxide as well as iron oxide as impurity, we'll use this method Hall's process as impurity. So in this case also we are getting bauxite ore on fusing with sodium carbonate forms sodium metaluminate. This sodium metaluminate is treated with carbon dioxide, sulfate, aluminum hydroxide, sodium carbonate is formed, and this bauxite ore plus coke plus nitrogen will form aluminum nitrate. So this is if bauxite contains only silicon dioxide as impurity. This is called Surpex process. What is this called? Surpex process. In all the process, aluminum hydroxide is formed, and this aluminum hydroxide PPT precipitate on heating strongly will form aluminum oxide. So the concentration of aluminum can be done in three methods. One is Bayer's process, Hall's process, Surpex process. Anyway, we have explained you this in the previous lecture with neatly slides, everything I have written. So you can follow that. So this aluminum hydroxide, as I told you, on heating strongly, calcination, it forms aluminum oxide, that is anhydrous alumina. And this anhydrous alumina undergoing electrolytic reduction to form aluminum and oxygen. So 99.8% pure aluminum you'll get. And this can be done after to make it 100% pure, that is almost 99.98% pure, we'll do electrolytic refining, that is Hoops process. So this is nothing but this lecture is nothing but a recap of this lesson. So please listen all these flow charts easily. Anyway, we have given this, you have to note it down. Since you are, I don't know whether you will note it down, that's why I have made it again and again. So because this discussion is very important, and in this third point is very important, as you already know, in the electrolytic refining of alumina, we'll add cryolite and fluorspar. What is this Na3AlF6? It is called cryolite. Na3AlF6 is called cryolite. It is called cryolite and fluorspar. Why we are adding this? This is called fluorspar. FOLOURSPAR. This is called fluorspar. So calcium fluoride and sodium aluminum hexafluoride. So this is called cryolite and fluorspar. So these two are added because to increase the conductivity and also to decrease the melting point of alumina. To decrease the melting point of alumina, we'll use this method. So this is very important point. So after adding these two, what happens? Aluminum oxide can melt at 900 degrees C only. Otherwise, aluminum oxide will melt at 2000 degrees C. So pure aluminum will melt at 2000 degrees C. At this position, it's difficult to do electrolytic reduction. So that's why we'll use these two. By adding these two impurities, we'll get that conductivity of alumina increases, and then this what happens? Aluminum changes to aluminum, is collected at cathode, and oxygen is collected at anode. This electrolytic refining. So to make it maximum purity, that is 99.98% pure. So this is 99% pure. So pure aluminum, we will do electrolytic refining by Hoops process. So this is nothing but the flow chart of alumina. flowchart of alumina. Next, we have golds with aluminum thermic process. This we have not discussed, so this is also important. In these, metals with very high melting points are extracted from their oxides where carbon cannot be used for reduction. So metals with very high melting points are extracted from their oxides where carbon can't be used for reduction. So concentrated oxide ore plus aluminum powder is called thermite. So the concentrated oxide ore plus aluminum powder is called, we'll make it a thermite mixture. So example, which can be reduced by aluminum, chromium oxide, manganese oxide, iron ferric oxide can be reduced by using aluminum. So mixture of magnesium powder plus barium oxide is used as ignition mixture. So in this aluminum thermite process, we'll use metals with very high melting points are extracted from their oxides where carbon cannot be used for reduction. So in this, what we'll use as reducing agent? Aluminum. So the concentrated oxide ore like chromium oxide combines with aluminum powder. Manganese oxide combines with aluminum powder. Ferric oxide combines with aluminum powder and they form a thermite mixture. And for this mixture, to ignite this mixture, what is used? For this ignition, they'll do. Ignition means they'll make it as fire. So the mixture of magnesium powder and barium peroxide and magnesium powder is used as ignition mixture. And these two will do the ignition mixture so that it starts burning. And this is called thermite mixture. So this process is called as Goldsmith aluminum thermite process. Next, we have extraction of tin from cassiterite ore. Cassiterite or tin stone contains tin dioxide and wolframite contains, it is nothing but iron tungsten oxide, manganese tungsten oxide. W is called tungsten. So impurity present in it has a magnetic property. Impurity is removed with a magnet. So that's why first we'll do concentration by electromagnetic separation. How will you concentrate cassiterite ore? By the means of electromagnetic separation. Since the impurities present in the cassiterite is nothing but iron tungsten oxide plus manganese tungsten oxide. So impurity present in it has magnetic property. So impurity is removed with magnet. That is electromagnetic separation. Electromagnetic separation. Then next step, what we'll do? Second step, the ore is roasted. So the tin dioxide is roasted strongly. And what are the impurities present in that? Sulfur and arsenic sulfide are expelled as sulfur dioxide and arsenic oxide. So when tin dioxide is roasted strongly, it forms tin dioxide again. But with sulfur, the sulfur present in the ore is being roasted and also the arsenic sulfide also being roasted and they convert it into sulfur dioxide and arsenic oxide gases. So ore is mixed with coke. Third step, what happens is second step, step number 2. Step number 1, concentration by electromagnetic separation. Step number 2, roasting. Then step number 3, the ore is mixed with coke, limestone, and sand. The mixture is heated in the reverberatory furnace in electrical furnace at 1200 degrees C. SN2 is partially reduced. This is called what? Smelting process. What is this process called as? Smelting. Just like iron we have done. Same way, the tin dioxide ore is mixed with coke, limestone, and sand. The mixture is heated in reverberatory furnace in electrical furnace or in electrical furnaces. We have to write or in electrical furnace at 1200 degrees C. Then what happens? Tin dioxide is partially reduced. It is nothing but to form tin. It is nothing but tin dioxide partially reduced to tin. So next we have to do Pauling. What is Pauling? It is a method of refining of metal. So mixture of tin plus unreacted tin dioxide melted and stirred with the poles of green wood. So hydrocarbons in the wood reduce tin dioxide to tin. So finally we got here tin. Next, impure tin is heated in reverberatory furnace. The impurities iron, carbon, tungsten, iron, copper, tungsten, arsenic remain in the solid form while tin is separated in liquid form. This is called liquefaction method. This is nothing but purification of metal. And finally, to get 100% tin, we'll take electrolytic refining. That is impure tin. Cathode, impure tin is made as anode, and cathode is nothing but pure tin. And electrolyte is tin sulfate along with dilute sulfuric acid, so that tin is formed. So these are the steps involved in the extraction of tin. Very, very simple. What is the first step we have to do? First step is concentration of tin by the means of electromagnetic separation. Second step, roasting of tin. And third step we have to do. What is the third step involved in this extraction of tin? You can remember it. So what is the third step involved? This is nothing but Pauling, then liquefaction, then electrolytic refining. So these are the steps involved. And third, we have to do smelting also. So total 6 steps. What are the 6 steps? Let us see now. First, we have concentration. Second, we have concentration of tin by using electromagnetic separation method. Second, we have, what is the second method we have? The second method is the tin ore is roasted. In that roasting only, sulfur is removed as sulfur dioxide and arsenic is removed as arsenic oxide. And third point, we have smelting of the tin. That is smelting, how to do smelting of the ore. That is, the ore is mixed with coke and limestone, and it can be done in blast furnace or evaporative furnace or in electrical properties. Then tin is reduced. So tin oxide is reduced to tin partially. Next, we have to do polling. Next, liquefaction. Next, electrolytic refining. So total 6 processes. Polling. So polling, and that is not polling. It is polling, and it is liquefaction, and then electrolytic refining. So mixture of tin plus unreacted tin oxide melted and stirred with the poles of green wood. So due to this, what happens? Hydrocarbons in the wood reduces tin dioxide to tin. Reduces what? Tin dioxide to tin. So in this way, we'll form tin. So liquefaction, impure tin is heated in the evaporative furnace. That impurities iron, copper, tungsten, arsenic remain in solid form, and while tin is separated in liquid form. Finally, we'll do electrolytic refining of tin. So impure tin, cathode, pure tin, electrolyte. So these are the things we have to discuss. So this is the extraction of tin from cassiterite. Next, lead. How to do extraction of lead? Extraction of lead. Let us see now. Extraction of lead. Galena, lead sulfide is purified by fourth flotation process. First, lead is extracted from galena. So galena, as it contains sulfide ore, so automatically sulfide ores are best concentrated by fourth flotation process. The ore is heated in air and later heated in the absence of air. So that is nothing but we'll do both roasting and calcination. So lead sulfide is heated strongly in air, it forms lead oxide plus sulfur dioxide. So lead sulfide is heating strongly with lead oxide, along with it forms lead and sulfur dioxide. So here also lead sulfate plus PBS again forms lead and sulfur dioxide in the absence of air. Next, we have limestone removes silicon dioxide impurity, calcium oxide plus silicon dioxide as calcium slag. This already we know. So as lead contains silicon dioxide as impurity, if you add limestone to it, what happens? It forms limestone. From limestone, if you heat limestone strongly, we will get calcium carbonate. On heating strongly, will form what? Calcium oxide plus carbon dioxide. Sorry. So the calcium oxide so form combined with silica and forms calcium silicate, which is removed as slag. Acidic flux, basic flux. Next, now since we have done all the extractions of all the metals, let us see the questions now. The process most suited to obtain most electropositive metals from their ores is called reduction with carbon, self-reduction, fused salt electrolysis, Van Arkel method. Most electropositive metals from their ores. This you can remember easily. So it is nothing but fused salt electrolysis. Fused salt electrolysis, by the means of fused salt electrolysis, we can do. This is nothing but fused salt electrolysis, that is electrolytic refining. Electrolytic refining or electrolysis, simply electrolytic reduction. We can say it is called electrolytic reduction. It is also called as electrolytic reduction. So the process most suited to obtain most electropositive metals by the means from the ores is called electrolytic reduction. This is also called as fused salt electrolysis. Why? Because we'll take impure metal as cathode, impure metal as anode, sorry, and pure metal as cathode, and electrolyte is fused salt. Electrolyte is what we'll take? We'll take fused salt. Fused salt of same metal. Fused salt of same metal. So that's why we'll use this process. So this is called electrolytic reduction or electrolytic refining. So answer is C. Second question now. Activator used in fourth flotation process is known as activator. What is the role of activator? So let us see now. It is copper sulfate is the activator. So to activate is nothing but just like catalyst. It is not catalyst. It is just resembles like catalyst. So the activator used in fourth flotation process is copper sulfate. So to increase the action of pine oil, what is the duty of pine oil? It has the tendency to wet only ore particles. It has a tendency to wet ore particles. So to increase the activity of pine oil, we'll add copper sulfate to it. To increase the activity of pine oil. To increase the activity of pine oil, we'll use copper sulfate as activator. So this is called, answer is copper sulfate. Next continuation. and ore after navigation is found to have basic impurities. Which are the following can be used as flux? So if the ore has basic impurities, we'll use acidic flux. We'll use what? Acidic flux for removing basic impurities. For removing basic impurities, we'll add acidic flux. So which can be used as flux. So acidic flux means it can be silicon dioxide, ferric oxide, calcium carbonate, and magnesium oxide. So answer is acidic flux means it should be acidic in nature. So it should be silicon dioxide. Should be what? Silicon dioxide is acidic, whereas magnesium oxide, calcium carbonate, and ferrous oxide is basic in nature. So for removing acidic impurities, we have to add basic flux. For removing acidic and basic impurities, we have to add acidic flux. For removing acidic impurities, we have to add basic flux. This already we have discussed in the starting lecture only. So, and ore after navigation is found to have basic impurities. So for removing basic impurities, it can be added as flux, which can be used as flux. So as they have mentioned, it is basic impurities. So straight away we can use acidic flux. And in the given compound, acidic flux is only silicon dioxide. So answer is C. I hope it is clear. Very, very important this type of questions. Please note it down. Next continuation. The process of removing lighter gangue particles by washing in a current of water. The process of removing lighter gangue particles by washing in a current of water is called navigation. It's called what? Navigation. This is also important. Next question. The oil used in the flotation method for the purification of ore is pine oil, coconut oil, none of this. So it is pine oil, we already know. So answer is pine oil. Next. In which of the following ores calcination is not applicable? Calcination is not applicable. What is calcination? Heating the ore strongly in the absence of air or limited supply of air. So calcium carbonate, lead sulfide, this is malachite, that is calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate, and aluminum oxide along with water. So answer is C, that is lead sulfide. Lead sulfide, we have seen already in the process of lead sulfide what happens. We'll use roasting as well as only roasting. Next. Match the column 1 with column 2. As I told you, the minerals also they'll ask as formulas. So Chile saltpetre, Indian saltpetre, rutile, and wolframite. So wolframite already we know it is this is iron tungsten oxide. So and Chile saltpetre, sodium nitrate, and so on. So answer is for this is so A is Q, B is S. So let us see now. They are asking A is Q, B is I'll discuss the answer now. So option B, A is Q, B is P, C is S, and D is R. So let us see now. A is Q, that is Chile saltpetre, it is sodium nitrate. B is R, sorry, B is P, potassium nitrate, and Indian saltpetre, and rutile is nothing but P, and wolframite is R. So answer for this is, as we know, option B, QPSR. QPSR. So A is Q, B is P, and C is S, and D is R. So this is the answer. Next continuation. Cassiterite is constituted by, you already know it is tin dioxide contains mainly iron as impurity. So iron oxide as impurity, so best definitely it is constituted by magnetic separation. So let us see the answer now. As I told you, tin is separated by the means of constituted is by the means of magnetic separation because it contains iron as impurity, iron oxide as impurity. So that's why it is best constituted by the means of electromagnetic separation since it contains tin oxide as impurity. Next continuation. Next question. Which of the following is a carbonate ore? Malachite, pyrolusite, diaspore, cassiterite. Cassiterite we know it is tin dioxide, and Malachite is, we know, calcium carbonate and magnesium carbonate. So answer is malachite. Straight away you can say, because malachite formula is what? Is a this way. So malachite formula is a mixture of calcium carbonate dot magnesium carbonate. So it is a carbonate ore. Next continuation. Out of the following metals that cannot be obtained by electrolysis of the aqueous solution of their salts is electrolysis. Simply you can say A and B, because out of the following metals that cannot be obtained by the electrolysis of aqueous solution of their salts is magnesium. Magnesium cannot be obtained by the means of electrolysis. You have to remember this question, very, very important. So like these questions you may expect in the entrance exams. Next continuation. The ore having two different metal atoms is hematite, galena, magnetite, copper pyrite. Two different metal atoms. Two different metal atoms means already you know copper pyrites. The copper pyrites formula is what? Is nothing but CuFeS2. So it contains copper as well as iron. So the answer is copper pyrites. Galena is nothing but simple, it is lead sulfide. Hematite is nothing but Fe2O3. And magnetite is nothing but Fe3O4. Two different metal atoms. Suppose if they are same metal atoms with a different oxygen state means same magnetite, because in magnetite we have iron plus 2 as well as iron plus 3 also. But same metal it is. But they are asking different metal. So answer is copper pyrites. Let us see now. So answer is what? Copper pyrites. As I told you, the formula of copper pyrites is CuFeS2. CuFeS2. Next continuation. Parkes process is used. Parkes process is used to extract silver using silver and sodium cyanide, to extract silver from argentine fibers lead by adding zinc, to extract silver by forming amalgam, to extract nickel, using carbonyl compounds, to extract using nickel carbonyl compounds. So what is Parkes process? This already we have discussed. So it is nothing but to extract silver from argentine ferrous lead by adding zinc. This is called Parkes process. Very, very important this bit. So please note down. It is very, very important. So to extract silver from argentine ferrous lead by adding zinc, it is called Parkes process. Next continuation. Anhydrous magnesium chloride can be prepared from hydrated magnesium chloride by heating it in. Anhydrous magnesium chloride can be prepared from hydrated magnesium chloride by heating it in a current of dry HCl. Current of dry HCl. This is only application question. So magnesium chloride is obtained from hydrated magnesium chloride, that is MgCl2.6H2O. When MgCl2.6H2O is heated in a current of dry HCl, it forms MgCl2 plus 6H2O. So this is the answer. MgCl2 plus 6H2O. So MgCl2.6H2O in a current of dry HCl forms MgCl2 plus 6H2O. So this is called, answer is C option. Next question. So these are the important questions we have discussed so far. Next, one more question, I'll try to add it here. Just note down. Next question. The Van Arkel method for the purification of metals involves converting the metal into the Van Arkel method. It's question number 14. This is also important for discussion. That's why I have selected this. The Van Arkel method of purification of metals involves converting the metal to converting the metal converting the metal to option A, volatile compound decomposes over a metal surface. Volatile compound decomposes over a metal surface. Over a metal surface. Over a metal surface. Option B, volatile compound does not decompose over metal surface. Volatile compound does not decompose over metal surface. Third point, we have C, option C, non-volatile stable compound, non-volatile stable compound, and option D, non-volatile unstable compound. Non-volatile unstable compound. So what happens in this Van Arkel process? Let us see the solution now. So in Van Arkel method, the Van Arkel method of purification of metals involves converting the metal to volatile compound decomposes over a metal surface. Volatile compound does not decompose over a metal surface. Non-volatile stable compound and non-volatile unstable compound. So the answer is, since you know Van Arkel method is used to purify the refining high quality metals. So it is nothing but zirconium and titanium has been purified by this method. So zirconium combines with iodine and forms zirconium iodide. Zirconium iodide, it is volatile stable compound. Volatile compound decomposes over a metal surface. So answer is first option. And this zirconium iodide on heating strongly at 59 degrees C, for example, it forms zirconium plus 2 moles of iodine. So it is nothing but pure metal is formed. So this is nothing but volatile compound decomposes over a metal surface. So answer is first option. I hope it is clear. So next question now. So with this, we are ending this session. And in this session, we have discussed so many questions. So please concentrate, and all the flow charts of the metals are very important. So that's why this session is very important. Do questions as much as you can from this flow chart by using these flow charts and content, and everything is easy. I hope it is clear. So with this, I'm ending this session. Follow what we have discussed and do maximum number of questions from metallurgy, because definitely you are going to get 2-3 questions from metallurgy. Thank you all.